my crappy car in the suburbs, watching the sunset. The clash of our worlds vanished. We turned to each other, sharing a soft, deep kiss, officially confirming that we were in love. We smiled, completely lost in each other's eyes. But in the distance, hidden in the shadows, an unknown camera lens was zooming straight at us, clicking continuous. Listen, if you blink, you might miss the exact second my life turned into a totally chaotic teen movie. Splash. That's the sound of my thick black paintbrush violently slashing straight across Stella's sickly sweet pastel pink mood board. We were 5 minutes into the Spring Festival concept meeting. I already hated everything about her design. I slapped my pitch black mood board right over her pink disaster. Spring can be dark and gloomy too, Barbie, I smirked. Stop being so shallow and following the same boring path. I'm Raven, 18 years old. I practically live in oversized band tees and heavy eyeliner. Stella is a golden-haired, preppy cheerleader who acts like life is a musical. And the kicker? Both of us were running for student council president. This spring festival was our first major campaign to win over the school. Naturally, we wanted to destroy each other. Stella called me a problem, said I was ruining a wholesome event just to feed my ego. I told her she was fake, plastic, the kind of girl who smiles at everyone and means none of it. And just like that, the war officially started. We were both ready to fight. The next few days, a complete war zone. We didn't even try to hide it. Stella would hang up these annoying pastel pennants, and I would instantly flick black paint on them, claiming it created a necessary contrast. I'd be painting a moody, abstract piece, and she would drag a massive, blinding spotlight and point it right at my canvas. The absolute boiling point happened when we stayed late in the gym. We got into a screaming match that got way too real. "You are exactly like a supermarket Barbie doll," I yelled directly into her face. "You smile at everyone because you are totally hollow. You have zero personality besides desperately craving attention." Stella turned bright red, tears welling in her eyes, and she hit me right where it hurt the most. "And what about you? You wrap yourself in these black rags because you are a pathetic coward. You would rather play the freak than admit that literally nobody wants to be your friend." That shut me up. We just stood there, breathing hard. Because the worst part, she wasn't completely wrong, and neither was I. A few days later, I was digging around in the dusty prop room when I heard a shaky voice. It was Stella, hiding in the corner, fiercely arguing on the phone with her mom. I totally eavesdropped. She was venting about how exhausted she was, but her mom was basically yelling that she wasn't allowed to be tired or ever stop being perfect. Stella hung up, tears streaming down her flawless cheeks. Then she pulled out a cigarette. She put it between her lips and frantically tried to light it, but the cheap lighter was out of gas. I accidentally bumped a box. Stella jumped, spotted me, and aggressively hid the cigarette. "Were you spying on me?" she snapped, her voice shaking. I just rolled my eyes and walked over. "Relax, I don't care enough to spy on you." I reached out, snatched the unlit cigarette from her trembling fingers, and snapped it in half. "Smoking doesn't cure stress, golden retriever. Chocolate does." I pulled a crushed pack of M&Ms out of my pocket, tossed it to her, and just walked away without looking back. That tiny, casual action completely shattered all her fears and prejudices about me. Our two opposing worlds officially collided and found a silent understanding. After that day, things changed. Not all at once. We still argued, still got on each other's nerves, but we stopped trying to destroy each other. We teamed up to organize the Spring Festival. We created a concept called Eclipse, a stunning collision of the sun and the shadows. The festival was a massive, mind-blowing success. Naturally, Raven and Stella started getting closer. The defensive walls came down. One afternoon, sitting on the bleachers, Stella finally confessed. She told me she tried to smoke because the intense pressure from her family to be the flawless, smiling golden child was literally crushing her lungs. I looked at her, sighed, and spilled my own secret. I told her I wore dark clothes to scare people away. I was so terrified that no one would want to get close to me, so I made sure to push them away first. Hearing that deep truth, she just gently bumped her shoulder against mine. a soft, genuine smile on her face. The real turning point happened a week later. Stella was trapped at some stuffy high society gala, totally drained from playing the perfect princess. She literally climbed a giant fence in her gown to escape into the night and called me for an SOS. I pulled up on my beat-up motorcycle. I took her to an abandoned warehouse. She kicked off her heels, threw my leather jacket over her fancy dress, and went wild, spraying neon graffiti, screaming at the top of her lungs to release all that toxic pressure. Panting and exhausted, she looked at me and whispered, "Your world is really dark, Raven, but it's the only place I feel like I can actually breathe." The friendship boundary was officially shattered. We spent all our free time secretly hanging out. I'd wait outside her house on my bike and she'd sneak out. We ate at a sketchy street cart. She was super clumsy with the chopsticks at first, but then burst into a beautiful laugh. At a night market, she bought a tiny braided string bracelet and tied it around my wrist. One evening, we sat on the hood of my crappy car in the suburbs, watching the sunset. The clash of our worlds vanished. We turned to each other, sharing a soft, deep kiss, officially confirming that we were in love. We smiled, completely lost in each other's eyes. But in the distance, hidden in the shadows, an unknown camera lens was zooming straight at us, clicking continuously, capturing our secret. It was the day of the Student Council President election speeches. The auditorium was packed. Stella was up on the podium, looking absolutely radiant, while I stood hidden in the wings, smiling like a proud idiot. Then, the nightmare exploded. Suddenly, the giant LED screen behind her was hacked. The shocking moment from the first scene repeated, but 1,000 times worse. The screen flashed massive photos of us secretly kissing on the car, and that picture of her holding the cigarette. The microphone let out a piercing screech. The entire auditorium erupted into deafening chaos. Stella's furious, wealthy parents stormed onto the stage. Panic hit its absolute peak. Security guards rushed up, escorting Stella, me, and her unhinged parents straight to the principal's office. Walking down that hallway, my mind was racing. I had no idea who secretly hated us and stalked us, or how long they had been collecting those photos. Honestly, I didn't care. All I knew was that I had to quickly resolve this messy uproar so it wouldn't completely ruin Stella's life. The air in the principal's office felt suffocating. Stella's parents didn't even try to stay calm. They immediately pointed their angry fingers at me, shouting, "It is definitely this trashy student dragging her down. Our daughter has always been absolutely perfect. This goth freak seduced her and stalked her." I looked over at Stella. She was backed into a corner, facing the crushing pressure of her parents and the terrifying reality of losing her shiny future. And in that crucial moment, cowardice swallowed her whole. Instead of standing up and defending me, instead of fighting for us, Stella just looked down at her shoes. She stayed completely silent, leaving me to face the firing squad entirely alone. The warm, loving look in my eyes instantly turned ice cold and totally empty. I looked at the girl shrinking away from me and I let out a bitter, self-deprecating smirk. "That's right," I said, my voice dead. "It is all my fault, princess." I slowly took off the braided bracelet she gave me, placed it on the desk with a quiet click, and walked straight out of the room. I couldn't stop thinking about that moment. The way she looked down and said nothing. My heart was completely shattered. That very night, I texted her that we were totally done and blocked her on every single contact. A few agonizing weeks passed. Stella managed to keep her flawless image intact, but the guilt was eating her alive. It all came to a head at our graduation. Stella was the valedictorian. She stood at the podium, looked at her fake speech, and just threw the flashcards on the floor. Right in front of the entire school, she spoke into the mic. "For the past few weeks, I've been deeply miserable because I cowardly turned my back on the person I love. I rethought everything. I am done being a coward. I am allowing myself to be brave and a little rebellious. This time, I'm standing up to protect my love." Ignoring the absolute uproar, she ran off the stage. She found me outside, crying hysterically, begging for my forgiveness. Seeing her raw, desperate sincerity, the massive defensive walls around my heart finally crumbled. I wiped her tears and smiled. We leaned in and shared a breathtaking kiss of pure freedom. Hey guys, have you ever fought for your love against all odds? Leave a comment below. Rate this episode 5 stars and follow our channel for more teen stories. Peace out!